The offense has been really stuck in the mud. Mahomes coming off a career low 151 passing yards in last week's lucky win over the Bengals. Travis Kelce talked on the New Heights podcast about not looking like himself, catching one pass, and said the offense has to step up.
We got to play better as an offense. I think the defense is playing their asses off. I put that on me. I think it starts with the leaders. I think it's, making sure you're going with the right mentality. I didn't play my best. It spreads if you don't fix it. So I got to get that thing fixed. There's a lot of things that have to go right for anybody to get the ball. For whatever reason, these past two games, it hasn't gone that way for me. And that's football, man. I'm not about to sit here and get frustrated about it. I used to get really, really pissed off.
Yeah, but then he got rich.
And he got Taylor Swift as a girlfriend.
Yeah.
He has 39 receiving yards this season, Travis Kelce.
Yeah. Well, let me defend him here.
Oh, please do.
So last year, the Chiefs had the worst receiving core in the league, arguably. And I think they've made it a priority to get this receiving core. They know that Travis Kelce will be fine. He is not something they're worried about. He made a big play in that Cincinnati game, one big play. They're not worried about that. They got to get Watson and Worthy and Rashee Rice and the second tight end. I think Kansas City is making an effort to get a lot of looks and a lot of touches to this receiving core to get it ramped up. It's just like Chris Jones. He'll be great in a big game. You don't worry about Chris, Mahomes, or Kelce in big games. It's almost like, it feels like to me, it's very Brady, Edelman, Gronk. I didn't care in the early part. I knew they'd be good in January. Those guys were always great. Even as they aged, they were always great in January. I think Kansas City's trying to get all these guys touches, and they're asking more of the young guys. They're not game planning primarily around Travis Kelce at this point in the season. They know, like last year, he was invisible for big chunks of the regular season. He was money in January.
Well, they did have Pacheco last year, and Andy Reid has come out and said he might miss the entire season.
Now that changes everything.
And Pacheco was excellent for them last year.
He's a really good player.
Yeah, I mean, this idea to get Watson the ball and Worthy, I don't know. I look at Worthy and I'm like, what is he, Jameson Williams? Like maybe a boom-bust home run guy?
No, I think he's a great gadget guy for the best gadget coach in the league.
Okay, but that's going to work like one or two gadget plays a game, and you better get a touchdown because he's not doing 5 yards.
Rashee Rice is your volume guy. And in the playoffs, you'll watch. Juju Smith-Schuster, by the way, last time he was in Kansas City 2 years ago, was a volume guy in the playoffs. He had a big volume playoff game, remember? He had a good volume season and a big playoff game. And so I think when Juju Smith-Schuster, Rashee Rice will be the big volume guys, Worthy will be the gadget guy, Hollywood Brown will come back.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that is smart for the team. They need him healthy to thrive.
Well, Kyle Shanahan wouldn't want him running if he was worried about it.
Do you remember Jimmy Garoppolo, the year after the Super Bowl, had a scramble on the sideline, stepped out of bounds weird, ACL popped.
He didn't even get hit, though.
Exactly. But he's running. Season over, done. The season literally is over if your quarterback goes down.
Brock Purdy's only injury was in the pocket when somebody hit his elbow.
Yeah, that Eagles game.
You don't get hurt running as much as you think. What happens is when you consistently run, it's a series of, hits, and after a while you wake up with a hip pointer. But it's not, how many injuries? Just top of your head, if I said quarterback running injury out for the year, how many can you think of?
But it's less about it's like the idea that you are making yourself vulnerable to linebackers and safeties.
If you look at when players get hurt offensively, this is when they get hurt. And this is why the NFL outlawed that tackle, the hip drop. When you really watch, Jordan Love's a great example. Somebody grabs Jordan Love, and he's got a bunch of linemen on the ground, and all of a sudden they get caught in his foot. Think out loud. Everybody on the internet, I'm sure, has an answer, but the rest of us who are thinking just in this moment, think of the last time a quarterback went for a run, got hit, out for the season. It doesn't happen. What really gets injuries is bad offensive lines, so there's congestion around your feet. You get hit, somebody bangs up against you.
I have one. Tua. A week ago today, running on fourth down up the middle and just
and by the
concussion.
Way, and a really bad slide.
Really bad slide.
If he slided like he practiced, he wouldn't be injured. Even Dolphin players are like it was kind of a random injury. It wasn't a big hit. It was a concussion-centric player.
That's a great point. That, to me, was like the Lamar Jackson game 1 against the Chiefs. Tua had thrown 3 picks. He's like, I'm killing the team. I got to make a play.
Yes.
I got to try. And you're over trying. You run on 4th down. You're not thinking.
That's
Instead
fair.
of sliding, he's trying to make a play.
No, that's fair.
And I felt like Lamar did that a lot. I don't want to see Brock Purdy. Oh, I got to make a play against the Rams in week 3. Just win from the pocket, dude.
Yeah. J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
You know, one of my favorite plays this week, I like the Chicago Bears against the Colts. It's one of my favorite plays. Because I don't think we're quite being fair with Caleb Williams. I'm not saying this just because he's a USC guy, but I can't think of the last college quarterback that had these expectations. Now, you could say, well, what about Andrew Luck? But remember, Andrew Luck joined a talentless roster, so our expectations were not playoffs. And also, the Colts had made the playoffs 9 of 10 years before Andrew Luck got there. So it's a winning culture. Owner, front office, the Colts were a winning culture. And it was a talentless roster. And it's kind of a small market media. Caleb's different. It's a losing culture that he has to help turn around. All we heard all off season, myself included, is, man, look at all their talent. This is the most talented Bears I've ever had. So he enters a losing culture with a coach on the hot seat. They've never developed a quarterback in the history of the franchise in a division now that is easily, offensively, the best in football. Vikings, Lions, Packers, those are elite offensive personnel teams. Oh, yeah, let's throw them on Hard Knocks and week 2 on Sunday Night Football. So Mark Sanchez was on our show yesterday on the pressure, the unique pressure Caleb is facing.
He's learning so much on the fly. Just imagine drinking through a fire hose. It's a lot of information. There's a lot of stuff being thrown at him. I will credit him for his demeanor, though. I mean, sure, does he get upset? Does he, hang his head a little bit? Does he get frustrated? Absolutely. And he has every right to. But he's fighting like hell, man. And I admire that. I admire what he's going through. I know exactly what he's feeling. And it is really hard. These guys are smarter, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, and their whole existence is built on ruining your Sunday. So there's a lot flying at him. He's handling it, the very best he can.
I mean, if you go back, I wasn't around for John. I mean, I was around for John Elway, but there was no internet. I don't remember the expectations. He was great as a prospect. I remember Yankees. He was drafted or something with the Yankees, and I can remember that. And I remember his career, but I don't remember the expectations for Elway other than he was a great, best college prospect I can ever remember. But with Andrew Luck, he was going to a solid winning culture. He was replacing a legend. They had no talent in the roster. They had a terrible O-line. We didn't have high expectations. The expectations here are really through the roof. He's the first superstar NIL quarterback. Bears got all this offensive talent. Big, loud, relentless media in Chicago. Lincoln Riley pointed out, which is probably the answer to solving his early mistakes.
Sometimes when you get into competitive situations, especially a new league, a new offense, new coaches around you, new supporting cast, there's going to be some growing pains, right? You're going to go through some tough moments, but you got to continue to go back to the basics, continue to improve, continue to lead. And most importantly, you can't let it affect your attitude, your mentality, the way you play, the way you practice. You just got to keep growing. And Caleb will. He's a fighter. He's going to continue to learn and grow. I
like the Bears this weekend. It's interesting. Greg Cosell, top of the hour. What's interesting is that I talked to a GM yesterday that said, man, Anthony Richardson's tape was bad. My staff just wrote on the screen that apparently Greg Cosell on the Ross Tucker podcast said Anthony Richardson was missing high school throws, like easy stuff. So we're all paying attention to Caleb Williams' struggles. They may have a much, much bigger issue. Chris Ballard on. If this doesn't work, Irsay's wildly impulsive, outspoken, very public. So that game may not look like much to most people, but Anthony Richardson and Caleb Williams is a big, big game, and I like Chicago. Yeah, apparently Cosell said Anthony Richardson has missed a ton of basic, easy throws through 2 weeks that high school quarterbacks can make. And Greg's not hyperbolic. That's just not – Greg Cosell doesn't just say stuff to say stuff. Tutty, taking it to the house, whatever you call a touchdown. They make more and they matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Are you ready to place your first NFL bet? Try betting on something really simple like a player, tonight scoring a touchdown. Are you ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook.